In a remote village, where the mountains touched the sky and the wind carried the whispers of ancient traditions, there lived an ancient ninja whose wisdom was revered by all. He was not just a master of martial arts, but also a guardian of life's deep lessons. His disciples followed him with devotion, attentive to every word and gesture. One day, sensing that his time was running out, he called upon his most promising apprentice, a young man with a restless spirit but a pure heart. The ancient ninja, with his serene yet authoritative voice, said to the young man, "Remember one thing, never allow a distraction into your life." And with that, he closed his eyes, leaving the apprentice with one last lesson to ponder. The news of the ancient ninja's last words spread throughout the village and beyond. Everyone who heard was perplexed, trying to understand the true meaning of that message. The young apprentice, now tasked with carrying on the master's legacy, found himself in a state of confusion. Why would his master, in his final moments, speak of something as simple as a distraction? Yet he knew that every word from the ancient ninja carried a depth that could only be revealed with time and reflection. And so, he began to meditate on those words, seeking a deeper understanding. Near the village, there was another ninja, an older man who had accompanied the ancient ninja for many years. He knew the master better than anyone and had lived through countless adventures by his side. Seeing the young man lost in thought, the old ninja approached and asked him the reason for his concern. The young man explained his doubts, and the old ninja, with a wise smile, said, "There is a story behind those words. A story that your master told me many years ago. Sit down and listen, for this is our story. Many years ago, when your master was still young, he too faced a similar trial. At that time, he isolated himself in the mountains, seeking inner peace and mastery of the spirit and body. He lived in a small hut, built with his own hands, surrounded by a wild and unforgiving nature. He possessed only the essentials to live: a few clothes, a sword, and his indomitable spirit. However, one day, he noticed that small animals began invading his hut, destroying his few possessions. He was determined to maintain his focus, but the distractions started to multiply. In search of a solution, your master descended to the nearest village, where the villagers, in awe of his presence, offered their help. One of the villagers suggested that he bring a falcon to keep the small animals away. It seemed like a good idea, and the young ninja accepted the offer. The falcon, with its piercing gaze, fulfilled its function, keeping the intruders at bay. However, now the master had to care for the falcon, feed it, and train it. This new responsibility began to take more of his time that he should have dedicated to his true training. But he did not realize how much this small distraction was growing. As the days passed, the falcon became more dependent on the master, requiring constant attention. The ancient ninja, then young and determined, began to feel the weight of the responsibility he had taken on. He went back to the village, seeking a solution to the new situation. This time, the villagers suggested that he bring a helper, a young woman who could take care of the falcon and other mundane tasks, allowing him to focus on his training. Reluctant at first, but seeing the practicality of the idea, the master agreed. The young woman settled into the hut, and the distractions of the outside world were temporarily kept at bay. Over time, the young woman's presence in the master's life brought new complexities. She was dedicated, hard-working, but also carried with her the emotions and needs of the world that the master had tried to leave behind. The ninja began to spend more time with her, helping her with her tasks, and gradually, an emotional connection began to form. What started as a simple practical solution turned into a relationship that diverted the master from his original path. Without realizing it, he found himself once again entangled in the cycle of ordinary life, the very cycle he had abandoned when he chose the path of the solitary warrior. As the months passed, the young woman became pregnant, and the master found himself facing a new reality. He, who had renounced the world to seek enlightenment, was now about to become a father. The life he had chosen, of meditation and discipline, was slowly being replaced by a life of worldly responsibilities. One day, while holding his newborn child, the master realized how far he had strayed from his original purpose. He understood that it all began with a small distraction, something seemingly insignificant, but that grew until it completely dominated his life. And it was then that the master understood the true power of distractions. He realized that just as he was drawn back into the world by a series of small decisions, we too can be diverted from our goals by seemingly harmless distractions. He decided to share this lesson with his disciples so that they would not make the same mistake. This is our story, a story about how small concessions can lead to great deviations, and how important it is to maintain focus and discipline in everything we do. In everyday life, we often allow small distractions into our lives, believing that we can control them. But as the ancient ninja taught us, these distractions can grow and pull us away from our true goals. Whether in work, relationships, or the pursuit of our dreams, we must be vigilant and not allow our minds to stray from the path we have chosen to follow. And to you who watch and listen to us, know that you are also part of this journey. Join us in the next lesson, and together, we will continue to walk the path of wisdom,